Uh, Good afternoon or good evening, everyone watching in today. My name is Mr.Selfcare, your host tonight, and I want to welcome you for yet another very interesting and amazing episode. This evening, we are talking about a very important topic, a very important aspect when it comes to HIV and AIDS management. We are talking about the HIV treatment. Some people will call it ART therapy or Antiretroviral Therapy, or other people will call it ART. We want to look at how this HIV treatment has transformed HIV from a fatal diagnosis to a manageable condition, almost similar to any other medical conditions. We want to look at how this HIV treatment has given millions of people a chance to live a full life again. Our research is showing us that people with HIV now have the capacity to actually live to the full life expectancy of the different parts of the world. We want to see how adherence, or how if one took this drug religiously as prescribed by the healthcare workers, they are able to have another chance in life and live a very productive life. In this discussion, we will uncover how this HIV treatment works, why sticking to guidelines and right dosages matter, but also we are going to see the hope it has been able to bring to the people living with HIV. We want to look at the science, we are going to look at the success stories and the impact this treatment has brought to the world. And to discuss this with us, we are having a very professional doctor from AHF Uganda Cares, who is going to be in our studio to help us understand this subject matter. I kindly ask you to sit. I kindly ask you to get out a piece of paper and write down. But I also kindly ask you to leave your questions in the comment section such that we answer them. There is a lot of misinformation when it comes to HIV management or HIV treatment circulating on social media and different media platforms. Today we want to we want to bring clarity, and we want to give you the latest information when it comes to management. This is information that is rare to find on all other platforms or media, because HIV information keeps changing every day. That's why we are so proud as Mr.Selfcare initiative to have striked a partnership with the world's leading organization when it comes to managing HIV/AIDS, and that is AHF, in particular Uganda Care for the case of Uganda. So sit right there, relax, enjoy, grab yourself a cup of tea or water, and let's have this rich conversation. Again, I want to remind you to subscribe to this channel, because when you do that, you're giving YouTube right authority to share this wonderful discussion or information to all people in your contact, or to all people that you always talk to, because this is one way we can pass this message beyond your phone or beyond your border to make sure the goal of 2030 about HIV/AIDS is made a reality. Dr. Busulwa, you are welcome to our studios, and thank you so much for taking off your time to be here.
It's a pleasure. Good evening, everyone. Good morning. It's a privilege.
Yes.
be part of this very important conversation. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Doctor, I always start with something interesting. Who are you and what do you do at AHF Uganda Cares?
Thank you very much, Mr. Selfcare. Dr. Mande Busura Livingstone is my name. I'm a qualified medical doctor. Well, I trained from Makerere University. I hold a bachelor's degree in human medicine and surgery. And I also have a master's in public health, again from the same institution. I've been, working with Uganda Cares, AHF Uganda Cares, for quite a long time. I'm privileged to have been among the first doctors who were trained in, HIV care and treatment, when these drugs had just come in the country. By then I was working in Rakai, which was said to be the major hotspot, for HIV. But I've been with AHF for around close to 15 years. So, and I've been part of this journey, looking at where we started with antiretroviral therapy around 2004, 2002, 3, 4. The journey, the revolution that has that has taken place with antiretroviral therapy. We've seen drugs coming where we started from with many pills and eventually ending up with a single pill for those who are still lucky to be on a single pill, and then those who are on various regimens. So yeah, I've been quite interested in HIV and other infectious diseases. And it has been quite an interesting experience, especially if people come and they're quite sick and you are able to really be part of their lives, their journey, and they are able to regain their lives and they become very productive members of society. People come in when they have lost hope and they are back on their feet. It is quite a fulfilling sort of profession that really I thank God for, and I appreciate AIDS Healthcare Foundation, for giving me this privilege to be part of their team. So I'm a senior medical officer and I head one of the biggest clinics in the country, and that is Masaka. Yeah, so with over 15,000 clients. Yes. Briefly,
Doctor,
that's about, yes.
we are so glad to have you, and I'm so glad that you come from Masaka because there are a lot of wonderful stories about Masaka as a region, especially when it comes to HIV/AIDS. But yeah, that will be a story for another day. Doctor, to start with, we have people who are hearing this for the very first time. We have people who, when we talk about HIV treatment, we have people who are hearing that for the very first time because to some people, diagnosis with HIV is a death sentence. That's how they take it. Now, today we are talking about treatment. Doctor, what is HIV treatment? What do we mean when we talk about HIV treatment? Or to some people in the medical world, they will call it ART or Antiretroviral Therapy. And how does this work in our bodies? In the best way you can break this down to make sure that my friends from Katente, Mukono district, Nachisonga, where I come from, can understand exactly what we are talking about. The beauty with this program, we want to break it as bare as possible for Muntu Wawansi to properly understand it.
Okay. Thank you. Basically, HIV is no longer a death sentence. It has become a chronic, manageable illness like other illnesses that you can imagine, like, hypertension, diabetes, other illnesses that we've come across. The only difference between HIV and diabetes or hypertension or epilepsy and all those other chronic illnesses that do require someone to be on treatment for the rest of their lives. HIV is an infectious disease. It's a disease, it's caused by a living organism called human immunodeficiency virus, in short HIV. So someone first gets HIV, and if there is no intervention in terms of starting treatment, or if they delay to start treatment, or if they start treatment and along the way they disengage from care, they end up with AIDS. AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So basically, someone ends up with a collection of many diseases from what we call opportunistic, opportunistic infections, largely those germs that we can be able to fight off when our bodies are immunologically, when our defense systems are very strong, competent. So basically, that's where someone ends up. When someone is very healthy, we cannot say that they have AIDS or they have SLIM. They just have the HIV, or the Banyankole call it akakoko. So what happens if someone is identified to have HIV? Then we have a special treatment. So this treatment is what we call the antiretroviral therapy, as you've rightly, said it, and it's it is a combination. It's a combination of drugs, molecules within one pill. Back in the days, they used to call it highly active antiretroviral therapy, HART. But along the way, they had to remove the HA and then retain the ART for that matter. What makes this treatment unique is that one is lifelong, and we do not use only one particular molecule in it. It has like 3 drugs in one pill. That single pill you see has 3 components. For instance, if we talk about TLD, we talk about tenofovir, we talk about emtricitabine, we talk about dolutegravir or efavirenz for that matter. So why the different drugs in one pill? It is because HIV is a rapidly multiplying virus. So, and in the process of multiplying, it makes a lot of mistakes. So in making those mistakes, it is very easy for it to develop, resistance, come up with offsprings that could be very resistant if you used one molecule, one particular substance or drug. So for us to be safe, it's better to attack the virus at different stages of its development. So why do we take this important treatment? First and foremost, we take the medicine to prevent and reduce the rate at which the virus is multiplying or replicating itself or reproducing, so that which doesn't end up with so many viruses in huge numbers in the blood. Why? When HIV is multiplying within our bodies, it is multiplying within the defense cells called the the CD4 cells, the CD4 containing cells. So those are the primary targets for this. Any cell that carries that receptor CD4, they are very susceptible to HIV attacks. So a normal human being has around between 500 to about 1,500, cells per microliter. So when HIV comes in and there is no intervention, the CD4s keeps on reducing, because as the HIV is multiplying and increasing in number, the cells keep reducing. And once they reduce in number below 500, below 350, below 200, the virus is driving the person to the AIDS state, where they end up with so many, illnesses from many different germs, TB, these common viruses, these common other germs, bacteria. So the person ends up with all those complications, and they might even get cancer for that matter. So why these medicines are very important is to reduce the capacity of the virus to multiply. And once we control and stop and thwart that, then we can be able to control the amount of virus in the body, and then we protect our immune system. And then we ultimately, the second purpose is, once we control the virus, the immune system, in terms of the numbers, we shall have them within the normal limits, that interval of around 500 to about 1,500. And the body is thereby protected, the person is protected from those other, opportunistic infections and illnesses, and they're able to lead a healthy life. The quality of health is assured. Someone can be able to do any work that a non-HIV person can do. If it's a child, they can grow, study and go to the university. They become doctors, lawyers. We've come across many people who have grown on treatment, and they're very important and productive members of society. So first and foremost, the antiretroviral therapy is to reduce the viral load in the body by controlling the multiplication, to keep our immune system robust, strong in terms of the quantity, but also the quality, and also to keep someone very healthy without any issues, and they can be able to contribute to the economic development of their lives wherever they are. So basically, that's what I can say about this very, very important treatment. So I have to demystify that fact that we have the medicines are readily available. Where we started from, someone's immunity had to 20 years back, or also someone's immunity had first reached around 200, 350, 200 before they could qualify for medicines, because the medicines were quite, limited in terms of supply. But now we are so lucky that the medicines are readily available. As and when someone needs them, they can readily access them, and they're very safe. And with the guidance of a trained health professional, someone can be able to get very, very meaningful outcome in terms of the intended purpose. So once the virus ultimately reduces in someone's blood, then they can be able to also, the other benefit, the public health benefit, is the capacity to transmit HIV either through to their loved ones or mother-child transmission of HIV is really reduced by over 90 to 95%, over 95%, chances. So there's also that global concept of treatment as prevention. When you treat people who have HIV, you reduce the viral load in the community, and the ability to transmit is cut
Um,
is cut with
uh,
time.
Yes,
Yes.
Dr. Busulwa, thank you so much for that explanation. I believe even my grandmother in Ikatente Nakisunga district she watches in has properly understood that this. I've also gotten a fact that what we get is HIV infection, and what normally kills us is AIDS. And I've also picked the fact that it is very possible for one to have the virus and live so many years on without actually getting into the AIDS stage from your explanation. I hope I picked that right. Now, someone is asking a question that I want you to respond to in a minute or less. These are yes or no questions that keep popping into the comment section, and I want to keep them coming so that we don't forget. Someone is saying, so does that mean, according to doctor's explanation, that the HIV treatment or the ART treatment? So, in fact, the question is, can ART cure AIDS or does it only control it? Doctor.
Yes, it can prevent. Yes, it can cure. How? If someone comes in in an AIDS stage,
Mm,
they are cured from that. What do
mm,
I mean? They come with very low CD4s, very high, viral loads, um, with a lot of, opportunistic elements for that matter. So once we start them on treatment after controlling the other opportunistic infections that they have, then if they came in WHO clinical stage 4, then we over a couple of months and years, we pull them from that stage of AIDS state back to a normal state, you know, a normal state, and they can be able to live with HIV minus, the AIDS. Literally, yes, we can cure them they can be cured from AIDS, and then they live with HIV alone without other opportunistic infections like those recurrent pneumonias, skin problems, diarrheas that are persistent, those are other meningitis, some of which are very deadly, some of the cancers that are opportunistic in this context. So literally, yes, they can be cured from AIDS, and they just have the HIV and move on with their lives. Yes,
uh, Doctor,
that's the
I
reason
think,
of this.
yes, thank you so much for that. Now, I know in your first explanation you try to explain this point, but I want you again to for clarity, because this is a very sensitive topic, and this is a program that I watched in from every part of the country, and we have so many healthcare facilities or centers down there that receive these patients that use these platforms or this channel especially as a referral or a reference. So someone has asked me to ask you to make this clear. Doctor, how does this treatment reduce the viral load, and how does it strengthen the immune system? I know you hinted it earlier, but I want you in a minute or two or three to make it very clear such that whoever asks the question can get this information clearly.
Thank you very much. When we start patients or clients on antiretroviral therapy, we using the different molecules within this pill that or the pills that we give our patients. First and foremost, we prevent the ability of the virus to reproduce and keep on increasing in numbers. So we attack the virus at different stages of reproduction. For instance, if there are viruses which have been circulating, and they are targeting cells that have a CD4. And the moment they come into the cell, then they can be able to, we can target them before they complete the cycle of, maturity, and then growing into another generation of what? Another generation of, viruses. The virus, when it is really saturating in blood, cannot stay for long. The problem comes in once it enters the cell and gets integrated into the genome, or the human DNA for that matter, or chromosome. Then it becomes part of us. It can just with time keep on doing what? Reproducing new virions or viral particles. So the numbers keep increasing. But once you cut off that channel of reproduction, then the numbers keep reducing, and then the virus sort of gets contained in small, in particular places of the body, without having that freedom and liberty of saturating freely in blood, and keep on attacking, the different cells that have the targets that they need to enter into and start multiplying, for that matter. So that's how we reduce the multiplication or the replication or the reproducibility of the virus, and then we are able to reduce the numbers over time. And once we take off some samples to look at how the viral load is, ideally we cannot be able to do it to see them, because we've been able to, using our drugs, to control that liberty that the virus has. So we attack the virus at different stages, but most importantly, to prevent it from attacking more cells. And those that are freely saturating in blood, once they don't have any access to the cell, they cannot live forever. They have to die off. And those that have entered into the cells with the drug, using our drugs, can be able to attack them and prevent them from reproducing and increasing in numbers. And then our immune system, the body can be able to regenerate the cells, the defense cells, and the body can be able to really fight off any other opportunistic infections that someone encounters in their day-to-day life.
Wow, I believe the person who asked this, you've gotten the right answer. I want to thank friends that are in the comment section that are watching and making this interesting. Don't leave minus leaving your comment. And I want to thank the people, especially my friends from the soccer world. Doctor, these days, ever since we started this program, I'm having a lot of calls from people, especially those that play football in Uganda. And I believe so many football clubs are opening up. They want us to go to those clubs, talk to their players, their fans, teach them about this, but also they are so receptive. So I really want to thank everyone that takes on time every Wednesday 9:30 p.m. to be part of this conversation. I want to inform everyone that this is in the journey to end HIV and its related effect or its transmission or death related to HIV. Each of us is a partner or a stakeholder. Those that are living with the virus, we must handle them with care, because these are critical partners and custodians that if we handled well and put on treatment, have the capacity to stop transmission. But also us without, our responsibility is to make sure we support all the programs that are driving into the direction of ending the transmission. It includes politicians that pass the bills, that allocate budgets. It includes the healthcare workers to go back to school or to have more CMEs to understand this healthcare challenge, such that we are able to combat it people in antenatal who deliver mothers, because while we talk about transmissions, so many of us rush to think people are sleeping around, but we also have babies that are still born with the virus. So in this campaign about HIV, you and I have a critical role to play. And sometimes your role is as simple as sharing this video to young people, to everyone watching, into the people, to that healthcare provider at LC1 or at the village level, such that you impact them with information. It's also be as easy as listening and then putting. I know families that watch these videos as a whole. I know school, everyone is then, instead of putting their students to library to read, they put this on in the main hall and have all of them watch as a comparison. And so imagine all the schools did such a thing, then we are able to pass on information. So our role here with Dr. Busura is to pass on this information. Your role is to make sure you move it as much as possible. Doctor, there is another question that I've been wanting to ask, and I know our viewers are interested in it. Normally, when for other drugs like a paracetamol, if I come to your home and I left my paracetamol at home, I can ask Dr. Busura for your paracetamol and I'll take a tab and I'm fine. Doctor, when it comes to HIV, we see different tablets or different forms of treatment or different medicines for different people. That confuses people. That makes some people think that either what they are on is not as strong as what their neighbors are taking. Doctor, why do we have different forms of tablets or medicine for different people? And who decides what to give what? Do you just look at me and say, this Richard deserves this type and this type? In answering that, or after that, we shall also go to the babies. But let's handle this. Then after this, we shall go to the children. Yes. Why different types of tablets for different people? Why do you put one on one and another people on more than one? I hear some people on Septrin for lifetime, others on some other. Why, doctor?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. And I thank everyone that, that is part of this very, very important, conversation. And those who are, complimenting, I thank them. So we have guiding principles that have been put forward by World Health Organization to the member countries, and basically we member countries like Uganda. So these guiding the guidelines for antiretroviral treatment have been, put together by WHO, again based on research, rigorous research. Clinical trials have been done, and at different levels, both in the laboratories and in the community, in the population, and then I've come up with the data, that guides health workers like myself and others at different levels. So when someone comes in, we have different lines. We have first line, we have second line, we have third line, levels of treatment. Again, depending on whether someone has ever taken medicines, how they have been taking the medicines, and how their outcome has been. So if a patient comes in and they're newly diagnosed and we are sure they have never been exposed to drugs, then we carry that level of confidence that the virus they are carrying is very sensitive or susceptible to the medicine that we have, that we plan to give them, and they qualify to be on the first line. So we basically, that is how we do it. As health workers, we take history, we do the examination, and we do some tests, and then we base on those tests to make the decision. But by and large, because in resource limited settings like Uganda, we don't have the labs to do those other very advanced tests like HIV drug resistance at the inception, at the entry, the patient has been identified with HIV. So using the public health approach, we take the history, and once we know that someone has never been exposed, is treatment naive, then we are sure that they qualify for a single pill for that matter. But other factors that we consider is that we look at the pill burden. Because this is a lifelong treatment, we don't want to burden people with so many pills, because they're not easy to take. And we thank God for science. Science has really helped us, in this field of HIV, because we started with many pills. And as we speak now, someone can have a single pill and they are good to go. However, if someone has been on treatment and they have not been swallowing, they're adhering well, they are missing doses, they are not keeping the time, so they are disengaging. They take the pills as and when they need. They feel like they are likely to facilitate. They end up with what we call drug poor adherence. They have poor adherence, and then they end up with the virus breaking through and starting to, multiply again. And in the process, like I said in the beginning, because the rate at which the virus multiplies is erratic, so it is also highly likely to generate resistant strains within it, what we call the mutants, which are resistant to this particular medicine. And when the patient sort of rectifies their treatment and they start adhering well, but because of that time lag where they have not been swallowing their pills, they carry a risk of having resistant HIV, which may not be responding to this. As they're taking their pills, the virus is multiplying. And very importantly, and this is what I tell my clients, that it is really bad to take your pills and the virus is multiplying. That's very, very bad. It is abominable. When you take your pill, you're supposed to suppress them and take away the freedom of the virus to multiply, for that matter. So the decision is based on the treatment history. If someone has never been exposed to treatment, then we give them a single pill. They qualify for a single pill. And if they fail on first line, then we can put them on second line, where if they've been taking one pill, this time they might take three pills for that matter, or 4 pills. If they fail, they shift to that line again with many pills that come along the way. So I always tell my clients that this first pill that you take is the best pill. But we have a variety of medicines. I want to tell our listeners, we have a lot of medicines, and also other guiding factors are there some other conditions or illnesses or diseases this person might have, because we are mindful of drug interactions within the body. So these drugs can end up, being affected by other drugs the patient might be taking. They may react to particular drugs, ARVs, and then they are disqualified, because their bodies have not really accepted that particular medicine. Then we have to again bring on board, think of other, because of the side effects, the adverse drug reactions, we are forced to make adjustments accordingly. So coming to the point you talked about, that you can come to my home and you share the Panadol, but it's not easy. It's not allowed for someone to share the their ARVs, because they might have they might be on different medicines, and it is always very good and wise before someone takes these ARVs to be guided by a trained health worker, because they are complicated. They might suffer adverse drug reactions, and we also fear the emergence of resistance, because we don't have bottomless pits of these medicines. At some point, a patient might run out of options because they have not been taking their pills. I've seen patients who have failed across the different levels within 2-3 years because they have not taken their medicines very well. So I hope I've answered the question as it were,
Yes,
with
yes,
respect to.
yes. Doctor, as a country and as a generation, we have a problem of people seeking treatment late, or people actually seeking therapies late because our bodies are still strong. When should someone start the HIV treatment? Because some people are going to test and they say, well, I am positive, but I'm still up and down. I'll wait when I reach this so-called critical or whatever stage they want to call it, and then I'll go and seek medication. When should someone start this HIV treatment? And why is it actually important that they start taking this treatment at a time that you're going to tell us?
Thank you very much. It is ideal to start antiretroviral therapy as soon as possible, as soon as someone has been identified with HIV. We are so lucky in the current generation that we have HIV testing services ubiquitous, regular available. We even have self-testing kits. You can just walk into any health facility and any Uganda Cares outlet, and you undergo a very robust HIV test. Someone shouldn't ideally wait to fast fall down and get those major, illnesses. You don't have to wait until your immunity has been severely damaged, because science, according to Vancouver Convention, the scientists discovered that the longer someone delays to start antiretroviral therapy, even when they start the treatment, because they have been harboring this virus in large quantities in their blood, it has left an indelible damage on their bodies in terms of triggering inflammation that cannot be reversed. And the complications of that are quite dire, in the fact that it affects the different, organs in the body, like the heart, most importantly. It can affect, and people end up with various complications. The arteries, those key organs in the body, the brain, the liver, the kidneys. So it is very, very important that we routinely have to go for an HIV test, because you never know, the risk, where the risk might come from. You might be keeping yourself observing, all the precautions that you need. But if you have a partner, you don't know how they behave. We have professional hazards, if you're a health worker, the kind of procedures that we do. We can encounter accidents here and there, and we get exposed to HIV. So the moment you get you're diagnosed with HIV, it is very, very imperative to start treatment immediately. Don't wait until you fall sick. That's why Uganda Cares, and of course in tandem with the WHO and other, the ministries of health, came up with a test and treat, because the science really confirms that the best time to start ARV is as soon as you've been identified with HIV, and you have to really remain on treatment without stopping, so that you don't give the chance for the virus to start, damaging. Yes, you might control the virus, but what about the complications of the high viremia that has started on your body? So because of those complications, we need to start ARVs as quickly as possible for better treatment outcomes and quality of care and health, for that matter.
For friends watching in, I want to thank you for being part of the global plan to end HIV and AIDS, to end HIV-related deaths and new transmission by 2030 campaign. And I want to thank again HF Uganda Cares for this partnership for making this possible. Doctor, you earlier talked about a treatment being a public health good, meaning with proper treatment, there is a chance that this person with the virus, the viral load can be reduced or lowered in their body, that they reach something called undetectable. Now, doctor, here, a lot of stories, a lot of a message, or I've heard a lot of people on social media talking about this. Some information I think is false, others that is right. Some people saying, of late we're having people say, I was on drugs for this, then I went to church and they prayed for me, and the virus is now not more. I'm now negative. I'm testing and they can't find it. They have told me I cannot spread the virus to other people, so I'm no longer having HIV. And some of them have gone ahead to stop medication because when they reach that stage, they think because it's undetectable, maybe I no longer have the virus anymore. They have gone to churches, given testimonies. I've heard them on social media saying, I've been on drugs, now I'm completely cured. Doctor, help us understand this stage called undetectable after being on a HIV treatment. What does it mean? Does it mean that I can no longer transfer? Does it mean that labs can no longer say I am positive? Does it mean I'm completely sure that I should stop my medication? Does it mean it, and again, is it a permanent status for life that I will no longer get out of jump of this? Because some people go ahead to tell even people that since they have said it is undetectable, I can have sex with you and I don't need protection. Is it a permanent status now that some people can be positive, negative, then undetectable? Doctor, clear this myth and bring out science for everyone listening in to understand.
Thank you very much for that very, very important, question. When someone, start antiretroviral therapy, 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road, we always subject them to high routine viral load test. Basically, the purpose of this is to see if they are controlling the virus or the treatment they are on. Because ideally, in an ideal setting, we are not supposed to see this virus. I always congratulate my clients and I appreciate, them for taking their medicines, especially every time I look at the results and it is undetectable. I congratulate them and I encourage them that, they are doing a great job. They are the best doctors for themselves. What does this mean? It doesn't mean that, someone is completely cured of HIV. It means that the free virus that has been, moving around in your blood has been drastically or severely reduced below undetectable levels for that particular machine, the cutoff for the machine that has been used to carry out the test. However, the virus is still in the body because it is hidden in particular areas in the body. It could be like the brain, like the lymph nodes, and it is dormant because it has become part of the human being, the human DNA. So every time it pulls out the head, our drugs are there to deal with it. So it's not a permanent cure. It's the fact that we have reduced the virus and denied the virus of the liberty to multiply freely in your blood, to move around and cause havoc in your blood, but doesn't mean that you are cured. The virus is imprisoned in particular areas in the body where it cannot come out. It's like when you deploy military and you get certain rogue members of society and confine them somewhere. When you withdraw the security, these guys can go on a rampage. So that's how the story is. We as AHF Uganda Cares, we always tell our clients that once you are tested positive and we confirm you HIV positive, we do not encourage them again to go for other HIV tests. Because you come, I test you, and the test is positive. Then I'll ask my colleague to draw blood independent of the test I did. And once the test he has done is concordant with what I had, and they are both positive, then that means that person is really positive. There is no need to undergo other tests. So if people have been on treatment for some time, there is a likelihood for them to have a false negative. It doesn't mean that, if you're negative, you are truly negative. That could be a false negative, just as we can have a true positive. So we also have false negatives. Because over time, the virus has reduced. Maybe some of the antibodies that previously reacted have reduced in terms of, quantities. So the test kits that we use that are largely dependent on antibodies may not be able to detect, and someone comes up with a negative, and yet in real essence, they carry the virus. So it's until they leave the treatment that after time there is what we call a viral rebound. The virus gets out of the sleeping mode and it starts multiplying at a rapid rate, and it decimates, the CD4 counts, and the immunity gets damaged, and someone ends up with advanced HIV disease or AIDS for that matter. Their immune system is damaged. The virus is high, and they're having so many bad, infections, and their life is basically under serious threat. So that is where the challenge is. So for those who are taking their pills well, there is what is they call undetectable equals to transmissible. However, like I said, if the transmissibility has been reduced by close to 95%, there is another 5% also chances of someone getting HIV if they have unprotected sex perpetually or continuously with someone that has HIV. So that's why you have, interventions like pre-exposure, prophylaxis, or post-exposure prophylaxis for that matter. What we mean is that for couples who are in discordant relationships, when one has HIV and the other is, HIV negative, because of that window of about 5% or so risk, we also recommend that the other person should also have a certain level of protection for themselves not to have HIV by giving them this treatment. In short, we call it PrEP. So it is it's not right for someone to leave medication for whatever reason, because there is potential for viral rebound, and the damage can carry a great risk to someone's health, and they might lose their lives because of this other. But also the fact that when someone's very sick, they are going to spend a lot of money. Their productivity is down because they're sick. A lot of money has to be spent by the household. They are no longer working. The members of the close family members have to support them. So it is not a situation that you wish someone to be in. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Busurwa, for that amazing response. Now, Doctor, shortly, when we talk about treatment, everyone is thinks about adults. What about children? What do we have for children that have been born with the virus, and what do mothers there and parents that eventually find their children with HIV virus? What do you have them in stock as AHF Uganda cares, or as the people in the HIV management? Because reports still show us a big number of children still being born with this virus. How can they be assisted, and do our wellness centers at HF Uganda Cares also cater for this? Because normally when we see adverts say, oh, young people, men and women, so it leaves out sometimes people who have children think they have been sidelined.
Thank you very much for that very important question about children. In HIV care treatment, bit prevention, children are part of this conversation. They are at the forefront of our intervention. However, we have a challenge that we have a sizable number of children. When you look at antiretroviral coverage in adults compared to children, a sizable number, I think over 50% of the children are still out there in the communities with HIV, and they have not had the chance of undergoing a test. The Ministry of Health has done a commendable job. Recently, there was the Mnonye campaign where they were calling us as frontline medical workers to use every opportunity that we have within our means, within our resources, to reach children, so that they undergo the HIV test, and then we have them, started on treatment, because their medicines are available in good quantities. So all the children, which children are we looking out for? The children that have been born to, mothers who are HIV positive, children who are staying within the same households with people who are living with HIV, be it biological or non-biological, would have that biological connection to the people living with HIV within that same household. Children who have undergone, abuse, they have been defiled, they have to really, we need them, because some of these cases remain out there in the community and they never, show up in the facilities. And when they show up in the facilities, some unkeen health workers, or those that have a low clinical index of suspicion, tend to miss out on these children. And that's a big time missed opportunity. And once you lose that child the first time they surface at the facility, you never know whether you'll ever have a chance to see them. So we are working closely at the different levels. As HF, we have programs like Know Your Child is HIV status. We are always calling upon our plans to bring their children for HIV, testing at the clinics. When we do community outreaches, we wish and extend HIV testing services to the children. And once we identify those HIV positives, we start them on treatment promptly, and also work closely with their the supporters, treatment supporters, their guardians, their parents, to ensure that they keep them on treatment to ensure survival. But we still have a challenge of coverage of antiretroviral therapy in children. I think close to 50% or more of our children out there. And those who are on treatment, when you look at their sort of treatment outcomes in terms of viral load suppression, the numbers are still very low. They're below 70 for children. So it is, we have our work cut out as implementers, program level, to make sure that children are given the access to treatment and retained on treatment, for that matter, for them to survive and become productive members of society tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Dr. Busurwa, for this elaboration. And I want to thank my friends Kasuku watching in right now, and one called Zubeda. They are saying they didn't know this page existed. Yes, Kasuku, we exist, and thank you so much for being a part of my audience. We want you to push this message forward to make sure that even people within your circles get this, especially people in the entertainment world. Doctor, as we about to come to the end of our discussion today, I normally visit homes and you find half empty bottles. I mean, you visit someone's bedroom and you find a pain killer that was left, an appetite drug, maybe a family planning, whatever pill that was used halfway. Let's talk about adherence to this HIV treatment or ART treatment. Why is it so important? First of all, what is adherence? And why is it so critical and important when it comes to the success of HIV treatment? I've also had colleagues that tell me that when you take these drugs, it is important that people actually take them, choose a time in a day when they can confidently take them at the same time every day. Doctor, why is adherence so important in this journey of HIV management and treatment?
Again, thank you very much. This is a very, very fundamental question, because treatment adherence is the cornerstone and the hallmark of our success, as health workers that, provide HIV care and treatment. What do we mean by adherence? Adherence means taking the right medicine at the right time, in the right dosage, in the right frequency, as has been, directed by your health worker. So we ensure that when someone has been started on treatment, it is very, very important for us as health workers to use the science and the knowledge that we have to, empower our clients. Because again, we are the custodian of the information. The clients, have made mistakes because they don't know the implications of this treatment. HIV treatment is not like, pressure treatment or hypertensive treatment or antidiabetic treatment. It has strict, rules that someone has to really stick to. For instance, someone has to take their medicines every day at strict times. And, we do not have, the patients don't have the liberty to use whatever medicines that they come across out there without the support of the doctors or the health workers that have that background knowledge on how these drugs work. So why do we tell clients that take your medicines every day, keep time, put a timer in your phone so that when it is 10 o'clock, you have to take your pill. It is because of the fact that HIV, we want to keep a certain concentration constant of the drug in the blood without it, falling below that threshold. Because once it falls through below that threshold for a continued period of time, then it opens up a window of opportunity for the virus to devise means of, developing resistance, changing its form, mutating into different form, changing its configuration so that it can be able to, um, um, you know, avoid being, targeted by the medicines that we're giving. So that's why we insist once the virus has that capacity and the mutations increase in numbers, then they have the freedom to start multiplying because the medicines you're taking are not really targeting them anymore. They have changed the form and they can freely multiply and that can be dangerous. So that's why we are strictly having this meaningful conversation with our clients and showing them why they should take their medicines daily on time so that they don't end up into that trouble of losing this single pill and then ending up on so many pills and of course they come with taking pills in large numbers is not an easy thing for the rest of your life. So that's why we insist on adhering well on your treatment so that will prevent treatment failure, emergence of resistance. Make sure that someone's quality of life is good. They are not burdened by so many pills. You talked about Septrin. Yes, but once upon a time, when the HIV had just come on board, people used to take Septrin almost for the rest of their lives. But now we no longer give Septrin to each and everyone. We have a special category of people that we give Septrin to and for a specified period of time. And once we are sure that their immunity has been, restored, the virus is under control, then we can, migrate them off from the Septrin and then they continue with that single pill. We don't want to burden our patients with so many pills. And unless it is really inevitable, and that's the only, the last, opportunity we have for that context. But by and large, I tell my clients to stick to their first pill because it's the most convenient. Yes.
Okay. Doctor, thank you so much again. As we are really winding up this and as we are coming to the end, it's been, or it is a very wonderful conversation. Some of this information is actually what is missing from the public, because HIV information literally is changing every single day with a lot of new improvements. Because I know some people here that still think Septrin is the first drug for so many years, but hearing from you that is changing, or there are a lot of changes around that. Doctor, I want to ask you about the side effects of these drugs that some of our patients may experience, because last week, normally from here, I have a TikTok live where again we continue with the same conversation, still under the same names, because the goal of this page is to make sure that we pass on as much information as possible to clear the myths also, but also to saturate social media with the right information. And one of the questions someone asked me was about side effects. He said when she started taking the drugs, eventually her skin became dark. And I wanted to hear it from you, because that is the honest truth, that for every medication we take, there could be some side effects. And I believe if we explain this today to our clients or the public, then they are not going to be scared when eventually they get the side effect. But before you answer that, someone has asked a question, Doctor. You've said about taking these drugs on adherence. As you got the side effect, do pregnant women continue taking this HIV treatment throughout throughout pregnancy? Because some healthcare workers will tell these women it's not safe to take certain medication, especially in the first in the first few months of pregnancy. So, should pregnant women continue with this treatment throughout, or there is a time when they need to break and continue? In just a minute or two, you can throw something, then you got the side effects of that clients should expect.
Thank you very much. Yes. My answer is a resounding yes. The pregnant women, or the pregnant woman for that matter, should take their medication right from the point of conception all through, even after giving birth, even after weaning off the child. Why? For purposes of their own health, but also for purposes of preventing mother-child transmission of HIV. Science has proven that these drugs largely have no serious or deleterious effects on the health of the baby or the unborn baby. They can be able to tolerate them, and babies are born with no serious, effects, or for that matter. So they are not in any way dangerous. They have not demonstrated any teratogenic effect on the baby, on the fetus. So my answer is yes. For instance, if we have females who are in the reproductive age group on treatment, who conceive on treatment, and they have given birth to very healthy babies whom they have not even, transmitted HIV to, and they have not had any issues, whether they lost their limbs or because of the ARVs. No. So there's no effect on the pregnant women. On the drugs on their babies. Coming to the side effects of the drugs, like, yes, to talk about someone who talked about, or reported having their skin darkening. Yes, there are certain drugs, like AZT, which can cause darkening of the skin, darkening of the nails, darkening of whatever, the palms. So yes, they do have side effects for that matter. But the most common pills that we use largely do not have those very serious phenotypic dysmorphic changes they bring on someone, that when you're on that treatment, someone can pinpoint at you. No, they and largely, like any other medication, the body responds, the interaction between the drug and the body, and the body versus the drug, they could trigger certain and uh, those things that you feel they sort of affect you, but they are tolerable. For instance, they can come in and then they disappear. But yes, some can cause bad dreams. Again, there's a way we can support our clients, because at the end of the day, if the side effects are not life threatening, the benefits outweigh some of them. We reassure our clients, but if we see that the side effects really are life threatening, then we have to intervene and make some substitutions to put a client on something that's very safe for them. So it is very incumbent for the client to discuss with their doctors and see, and the doctors really need to look at this information this feedback, this report, and react accordingly, and do some the needful. Because if you do not intervene, someone can discourage them from continuing with their medication. But by and large, like, some of the side effects can be tolerable. But if someone has very severe bad dreams, and they are losing blood, and then we can really intervene. But most of these other drugs, they can be tolerable. But also, as health workers, we do monitor our patients closely, to see that we intervene, so that they don't end up with life-threatening, because there are certain medicines which can cause bone pains, and if you don't intervene quickly, someone can get crippled. So, but again, those are the extremes. Not everyone ends up in that kind of state. So, as AHF, one of our cutting edge practice is to make sure that we monitor our patients and make sure they have the best outcome out of the treatment that we give them, without having detrimental effects on their health, as well
Doctor,
promoting the adherence.
thank you so much. Again, that's why I always love discussing people with something subject matter with the people exactly at the front line, because you give us information in the most simplified way that people understand. Doctor, let's talk about access. How can people access this AHRV treatment? You can start with AHF, and then you can go people who live beyond that. How can people access this HIV treatment, especially for those in need? Because I'm into the football world, ever since people started seeing me talking about this, I think I've gotten a couple of people calling me Dr. Nabadeneka Shua yesterday. I had a Shua yesterday, but I think I'm worried I need to get ARVs. And I want to thank Bridget and Bridget from AHF Uganda Care. I think Bridget will testify that between when we started and now, you've gotten a lot of phone calls, all from the football circle in Uganda, calling you for this kind of treatment, either PEP or PrEP. And so I want to thank my friends for responding to this positively. Doctor, where can people find this, especially young people? You see, we have a problem of young people not wanting to seek, first of all, treatment. But now, most of them, when they need these drugs, it is urgent. Either they need the PEP or PrEP, or or they want to. I mean, there is something normally for us young people is something scaring us that we want to run away from. So we need it and we need it there and then. So is it access? Where can we get it? Number two, affordability. Is it free of charge or we need to pay? Number three, on the same, for people who do not want to be identified. I mean, I am Mr. Selfcare. I want to get this medication, but I don't want my identity to be known. How can I be helped? Because yes, I want to take drugs. I want to save my life. I also want to save those around me, but I don't want to be seen around either at our wellness centers, or I can come for testing, but when it is time for me to get my refills, I don't want to keep driving there because I have a personalized number plate. I don't want to put on masks. But also, let's talk about, as you conclude, that the school going children or people, young people that are in universities, are at schools, how can we help them to get these drugs? Because I have a case of a certain school on Massacre Road, actually, one of your prominent schools there, old school, where the nurse had made it difficult for this one boy to have his medication. All the time they had to call me to come sign, or they had to ask someone to go and actually take it for him. They would refuse to give him pass out. And this is a boy that was actually born with the virus. How can we hope that to make sure that the different groups actually have access to this amazing and miraculous treatment?
Thank you very much, Mr. Presenter. Yes, access. AHF Uganda Cares has very excellent clinics in Kampala. We have St. Baliko Dembe or Inowino. And most of these where AHF Uganda Cares operates, we have our very nice, signages that bear our logos in red, yellow. So Uganda Cares. So we have St. Baliko Dembe, we have the Kamoja Clinic for those who are in Kampala. But also outside Kampala, you can actually, HF Uganda Cares is countrywide. We operate in all the regions in different parts of the country. On this side of the Greater Masaka, we have a clinic at Lukaya and has a wellness clinic. We have our biggest clinic in Masaka Regional Referral Hospital and a host of other clinics in different areas. So we offer PrEP services, and all these services, any service pertaining to HIV prevention, care and treatment in HF are free of charge. You don't have to pay any coin. You just have to pay for the transport that will bring you from wherever you are coming from to the clinics, but the rest of the services will be provided free of charge. So we serve clients according to their unique needs. It's not the same size fits all. Personally, and this is the whole concept and philosophy of AHF. We serve clients according to their convenience. If someone is not willing to come and be part of the bigger group, again, we give them a package according to their convenience. To date, we have services that are offered in the community, but also have the community retail pharmacy program, where we can place our clients' medicines in particular pharmacies, and then they can just walk in there, pick their medication, and then they happily go home at the convenience of their time. We can schedule for their viral load again at the most convenient time. We have people who prefer to come very early in the morning to be worked on before everybody else. We have those that come in late in the evening. So once you discuss with your health workers, I have clients who never show up in the clinic, but are taking their medication very well. So it is something that we dialogue with our clients and we serve them to make sure that they are not in any way inconvenienced. So when it comes to access for school-going children, again, that is there is a challenge there because not all the health workers have embraced and have the full grasp of HIV care and treatment. So they may not have the well-grounded in this special field of HIV care and treatment to be able to support, for instance, the children that have been entrusted to them in the schools. And it's a challenge we are grappling with as a program, because most of our clients who are children, when they go to boarding schools, they tend to struggle. Around over 40% of them really struggle because the condition, the environment in which they are at school is not really conducive for them to take their pills. The kind of support that they need is not well structured. However, kudos to those schools that are able to really support these children, because they need our support. They are young, and they need the support. So sometimes we work with our counselors. We have very trained counselors who we send out there to engage with the schools and see how best they can support this kind of children. So for that particular one, you can discuss with us, and then we link them to some of our counselors, our trained counselors, to support and help them. But by and large, we serve each person as an individual. It is not a same size fits all. We dialogue with the client, see how best we can give them their medication. The services are free
mm.
in all our clinics.
Dr. Busulu, I want to thank you for you're a very humble gentleman, and I love the way you've brought out this treatment. I think I've hosted people, but I thank the way you've handled this topic. I'm a person that believes in wellness and holistic approach. Doctor, is there any recommendation in terms of nutrition that you would recommend to people taking on this treatment to help this medicine work better? Are there some recommendation? We have people who drink, we have people who smoke, we have people, I mean, if given advice, they are in a position to work out a diet that I know our time is going has gone pretty fast, but I felt it is important we how does proper nutrition support this, and what would you recommend as a person at the forefront of HIV treatment to make sure the results are what we intend to have after a given period of time?
Thank you very much for that very, very important question. Nutrition is very important, just like any other person. What does the World Health Organization recommend? We tend to encourage our clients to have a balanced diet. However, this balanced diet should really reduce the foods that might put them at a greater risk of, putting on a lot of weight. Because when the weight also spirals out of control, that also brings with it serious health risks, like hypertension, diabetes, heart problems, strokes. So we want people to really have a balance that comprises vegetables, fruits, protein, and little sugar. These are the foods like those energy-giving food. You keep it at a minimum. Sugars, those very sweet things from these commercial things. So there's sugar, little portion, very polished foods, basically polished portion. You keep it at a minimum, whatever quantity, but you keep the other ones at like 90% of your plate should have um, vegetables. You should have fruits. You should have protein. It can be plants, plant protein, beans, nuts, fish, mukene. Um, that's very good. The juices, we don't want people to take a lot of juice because juice also has a lot of sugar. Sugar can when you take it in extreme quantities can also have um, deleterious effects on your health. But what we are guarding against is putting on too much weight. So and some um, small quantity or moderate quantity of preferably plant plant oils and a minimal animal fats for that matter. When it comes to risky behavior, smoking, I smoking has serious side effects, uh, health consequences on someone's health. It destroys the lungs. It can predispose to cancer. It can thicken the blood vessels, the arteries, and what have you. So someone might end up with serious, chest complications, that chronic cough. I've come across, patients who are coughing and they're being subjected to recurrent episodes of anti-TB treatment, but the cough has persisted. Recently, I had a patient who came to me and she was forcing me to give them anti-TBs because they're, coughing for the last so many, months, and was like, why? But you don't have TB. Sawa nkolola njagala ddagala TB, But when I interested myself to probe, this gentleman told me that he smokes quite a lot. So I had to sit him down and tell him that even if I give you anti-TBs for the rest of your life, once you have that bad habit of smoking, I always tell my clients that smoking, alcohol. I don't smoke, I don't take alcohol, but there is nothing I miss from them. So you shouldn't take them. Alcohol is very bad because it hits your liver hard. I've lost patients because we have had serious liver, damage because of the what? Because of the alcohol. So I wouldn't really encourage my clients to get involved in that kind of stuff. Make sure you live a healthy lifestyle. Eat well, do exercises. Don't live a sedentary lifestyle. You sit the whole day and then you eat a lot of, food and then you sleep. Take some 20, 30 minutes every day, walk, run or jump a rope, whatever exercise that can brisk walking. I walk every day close to 2 kilometers because I feel that I should walk the talk. What I tell my clients is what I practice. There is this old saying that do as I say, not as I do. But instead, I do what I tell my clients to do. 30 minutes every day of exercise is very good. It will prevent you from taking pressure drugs. It will delay, things like other complications like chronic joint illnesses, diabetes, and that kind of thing. So nutrition is very important. Exercises are very, very important. Alcohol-free, habits, smoking. Those are things that someone should do it. And you're watching your weight and discussing with your health worker on how best you can address some of those other issues that can, arise in your journey. The beauty with people who are living with HIV is that they have the liberty of interacting with doctors almost like at least 2 or 3 times a year, and they can pick a lot of information. Unlike the other people who have no HIV, they don't have that. So that is my take. And then, of course, taking water. Water is very good. You have to drink between 3 to 6 liters a day. Within that range, it will be very good for your kidneys and for your general well-being.
Thank you so much, Doctor. We've really come to the end of our discussion. Now, for people that are watching in here, we've even had a bigger following on Facebook because we are running live on Facebook as well. And unfortunately, all the questions here have been, I was putting them, but there are a couple of good questions that are coming from our Facebook page. But because of time, we may not respond to all of them. I could just go through, and I think some of them doctors already entered. For example, someone is asking, Doctor, you can respond to this in 30 seconds. What happens if I miss a dose of my HIV treatment? I
A
missed
single
today.
dose?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you miss one day, it is okay. You can resume the next day at the usual time that you take your pill routinely. It will not really cause a lot of harm. Those small pieces are allowable. We are not all that rigid. There is that allowable, if you miss 5% of your doses, it's okay because certain schedules may not allow you to, but that shouldn't worry you that the next day you should take double. No, you just resume at the usual time and just make sure that you ensure continuity.
Doctor, this is coming from Tororo. This one is saying, Doctor, what should I do if I vomit after taking my pill?
Yes, if you vomit your pill, it will be prudent for you to take up another pill. But if it becomes perpetual, it is recurrent, again, you have to discuss with your doctor and see if they can get you some medication that can help you, but also to investigate the cause of the vomiting. And if need be, we can give you some pills that can control the vomiting. That's something that you
Okay.
can discuss with your health worker.
This is coming from a Ugandan living in Dubai. Is saying, Doctor, we suffer with schedule. Why is it important for me to take the pill the same time every day? Because we suffer with schedule. You
Yes, we
can
take the pill.
re-echo this.
Yes, we take the pill on schedule every day because we want to keep that concentration of medicine in our blood constant. It should be constant so that it doesn't slide below, and then we give the virus a chance to devise means of fighting off our medicine.
Okay, this
Yes.
is coming from one of the footballers in Uganda. Doctor, can I stop taking this treatment if I start feeling better?
No, it's a resounding no. If you feel better, please continue. Because when you stop, you're going to really slide back and your health will be really affected. So please don't stop, continue and
Uh,
continue.
and then this one I should have remembered to ask. When can I take HIV treatment with other medications? Specifically, I've been given herbals that the two tend to work better. Doctor, you have a minute and a half to talk about herbals and HIV.
So no, please don't take herbal because the I've always told my clients that the medicine we are giving you has gone through rigorous science, and we are giving you the best product that we know is going to meet the purpose for which we are intending to meet. Hundreds and millions of people have benefited from this pill, from this medication, and there is no reason why you should not benefit from it. However, for the herbal, we have issues. First and foremost, there are different concoctions which might have serious drug interactions with our pill, and they might damage our pill at the liver level. So, but also those herbal remedies might have studies have shown that some of them affect the liver. They have serious side effects, and they mix certain chemicals, even more than medicines. Some of them. So the bottom line is that please don't take herbal. Focus on your pill. The rest will fall in place. you'll get the
Dr.
best outcome.
Dr. Absula, are you Christian? Sorry to
Yes.
ask. Dr. Absula, what if they pray for me and I get healed? Do I stop my medication after
No,
giving the
you should.
testimony?
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because, like I said, they are false negatives.
Hmm.
So that negative you have is not a true negative; it's a false negative. Being on treatment for a long period, and the current testing kits that we have that
Hmm.
are truly antibody based, we might not be able to pick the antibodies that have targeted HIV, and we get other naive antibodies which might give us the false negative. So please don't stop your medication. You can still be in church, be a Christian. The Bible tells that even a great apostle like Paul had a thorn in the flesh. Maybe he was sick. We don't know. He was also suffering, but he was still a
Hmm.
Christian. So you can remain in church and take your medication. That doesn't take away your faith, because the doctors were created by God.
Yes.
So, and the tools that God gave us to use to treat are the medicines. So I really encourage people not to
Uh,
stop the medication because they are being prayed for.
Doctor, yes or no, does HIV treatment affect fertility?
We don't have any proof,
Hmm.
scientific proof to that effect. We've seen our clients who are on treatment that have given birth to countless children.
Hmm.
They have started families. So we don't have any proof to that effect that, it has any effect on fertility. It is a no.
This is coming from Buvuma Island. Can I transmit HIV if I am on HIV treatment?
If you're swallowing your pills very well and you're virally suppressed, your chances of transmitting HIV are very small, very, very small.
Hmm.
But if you are taking your pills and you're not, suppressing, you carry very high risk of transmitting HIV to other people
Hmm.
because of the virus that is freely all over the place in your blood, in your semen. So yes, you can, but if you're suppressed, the risk is quite low. It's
Okay.
quite low,
Then this is
about
coming from
5%.
one of the young people in one of the youth centers. I think that actually AHF is facilitating, asking how long does it take for me for my status to become undetectable if I start HIV treatment? People want to start calculating.
Again, the current medications really deal with the virus very fast, but within, a month or so. But on average, it is 4 to 6 months. 4 to 6 months. 6 months, someone's viral load is really, on average, 6 months they are suppressed when they are
Okay.
swallowing their pills well, as if they have been recently started. And within 6 months, they are virally suppressed.
Um,
When we take off their viral load sample, 99% of them are virally suppressed.
Okay. I've really got for very good. I have questions on Facebook about 45, but due to time, we can't go beyond here. But Doctor, lastly, why is it important for, as we close in a minute, why is it important that if I start medication, I should let people around me know or people in my family know that I'm on medication? Because I have friends who drive taxis, but they keep those whatever in their driver's bag because they don't want anyone at home to know they are on treatment. And this is affecting so many people. I know colleagues whose medicine are actually at places of work because they don't want their wives to know, they don't want their husbands to know. Why is it important, doctor, that I let my family know that I'm HIV positive, but I've also started taking this treatment?
Thank you very much. Yeah, why we encourage people to disclose is basically to ensure good treatment outcomes, good
Mm,
adherence, viral suppression, and ultimately good health outcomes and good quality of health and good quality of life. You have to tell every Tom, Dick, and Harry about your HIV status. you can only share your HIV status with those trusted, close members like your spouse or a friend or a brother. And why we advise this is that with someone, this is like a treatment buddy, someone that can remind you, that someone can encourage you in the event that you've missed your pill. They can remind you to take your pill. If you're forgetting your next appointment, they can remind you to come to the facility. If you're not able to come for whatever reason, they can represent you once in a while to come and pick your medication. So we all need some people around to support us, because this antiretroviral therapy is a lifelong journey that it is quite challenging to take on alone. People who have taken it on alone have really had challenges, but those who have a good network of support have had better treatment outcomes. Against, I think studies can prove this. So it is very important that at least you have some confidence, someone that you believe can support you, that you can disclose to, and can remind you once in a while when you're getting fatigued, or whatever reason. You need this person to help you, to remind you not to engage in certain risky behavior, for better treatment outcomes, to adhere to your treatment well, for you to have a very good treatment outcome and ensure longevity of your life. Basically, that's what I can say about that.
Doctor, thank you so much. Do you have any like app where people can, like an app where, because we're in the digital world, maybe is HF planning to have like an app that which I can fill and have my drugs delivered to my location, if something like that?
Not yet. We don't have an app, but like I said, you can discuss with us. Our numbers are available. We can support you. We can link you to some of our clinics that are closer by. We can give you medicines depending on your schedule, 6 months, 9 months. We even give drugs to people who are going abroad for some considerable period of time. We structure our mode of care to suit the unique needs of our clients, to avoid those encumbrances that can sort of stop them from adhering well to their treatment. So our numbers are available. My number, if someone needs some sort of support, I'm always ready to support them so that they can have their medicines. We work out an arrangement for them. We have some clients, some of our colleagues who can travel and deliver some pills. We have delivered pills to some of our clients. For instance, if I'm coming to Kampala, I can deliver the pills to my client. I will package them very well. So we can discuss and see how best we can help. But as for the app, it is something that possibly we shall think about in the near future. But at the arrangement presently using the existing means, can be able to give medicines to the convenience of our clients according to their unique needs. That arrangement is there.
Wow.
Yes.
What a discussion we've had, Doctor. Thank you so much for taking off your time to be here. And thank you so much, IHF Uganda Cares, for making this possible, for sponsoring this, for actually partnering with us to make sure we give accurate HIV or reproductive health information to Ugandans. I want to thank all the partners that support this channel, supported Mr.Selfcare initiative to make sure Ugandans get the right information, the right timely information. And we still even call on other partners, friends, to come and we stand with us to make sure we push this information. The goal is to make sure we put this information in all the languages to reach all parts of Uganda in all the languages understood. We want to clear out the myth. We want to clear out misinformation. And we can only do it if we use these digital channels where so many of the people, our target groups, are now. Doctor, I kindly ask you to give your closing remarks on the subject matter, send out your greetings to your organization, and we call this a day.
I thank AHF Uganda Cares and for giving me the opportunity to be part of this important talk. I mean, the organization has so many doctors, but I'm really privileged to have been part of this. And I thank the presenter, and it has been quite interesting. I usually don't appear on some of these, shows, but the moderator has been quite unique, and the moderation has been very fantastic. And with profound gratitude, I want to appreciate all the people that have been part of this talk.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much for committing time and lending us your ears. This is something that we cannot take for granted. So as we strive to end AIDS by 2030, sorry, the journey is still long. We still have close to 30% of our patients still presenting with AIDS. And yet we have 4 years to end AIDS. So our work is still cut out. But what do we need to do? Let's have HIV tests. Let's get tested at every opportunity. Let's get to know our status. If we are diagnosed with HIV, let's start treatment immediately and stay on the treatment and adhere to all the guidance that have been given to us by the health workers. And let us, for those who are HIV negative, we have a package for you. If you're negative, we don't just send you away. We have a package for you. If you carry the risk, we have the medicines that can give you protect yourself. So, and lastly, let's live healthy. Let's live healthy and live long. I beg to submit, and I thank everyone that have been part of this organization of this evening talk. Thank you very much, and have a good night. And happy Easter to those who are Christians.
Thank you. As we wrap up this, let's remember HIV treatment, or ART, is more than a medicine. It's empowerment. By understanding how it works and supporting those on treatment, we contribute to healthier communities and a future where HIV is no longer a barrier to living well. Let's continue spreading awareness, fighting stigma, and celebrating the lives transformed by this HIV treatment. Every single movement starts with willing people, with people that are willing to support. The journey to end new infection by 2030 and people dying of HIV-related deaths starts with everyone doing their part. At Mr.Selfcare Initiative, our part is to make sure we bring qualified people that speak about this subject matter, that speak about HIV from uninformed and research-based point of view, and giving it to you in the comfort of your homes or your phones or from wherever you're watching this. We truly understand the resources you put in to listen to this, to share them, but also to make this informed decision. But that's the little that we can do to make sure we are part of this fight. Let's support those that are living with the virus. They are important custodians or important stakeholders in this journey to end these dangerous HIV infections by the set dates and target of 2030. But those that are suffering, those that have been affected, children who have lost parents due to HIV, as communities, let's see how we move out for them. Let's see how we extend our loving and generosity towards them. Indeed, it is possible to end new transmissions by 2030 if you and I played our part. My role was to host the expert tonight. Your role is to listen and make sure this information goes beyond your phone. How you do this is by simply sharing it to everyone in your contact, put it on your status, play it in your homes. This is censored information that can be watched by people of all age groups. Make sure everyone knows something about HIV, AIDS, because if you keep quiet with this information, you never know. The next victim could be the person you love most. The virus is still moving so fast in young people, ranging from the age 15 and onward. These are our daughters and sons, literally in secondary school. So if you're too comfortable and thinking this information belongs to your neighbor, you may need to think again. Thank you so much for joining this important discussion. My name remains Mr. Selfcare from Mr. Selfcare Initiative, where we believe good life begins with self-care, and self-care starts with having the right information about your health. Until next time, Wednesday, 9:30 p.m., I remain your favorite host. May God bless you and happy Easter to everyone celebrating. Bye.